I can go out and compete for insurance companies to provide me, and we will get, based upon my income level, the higher your income, the less you get, the lower your income, the more you get from the government to supplement that. Or Allen West can choose to go into regular Medicare when he gets 65. What's wrong with giving the American people options? Because if we continue down the path we're on right now, with the fraud, waste, and abuse that's in Medicare, with the fact that the average American citizen is paying in $110,000, $115,000 in Medicare over the course of their life, but yet they're getting closer to $300,000 in Medicare benefits per person. Because when you go for your Medicare, do you see the bill that the doctor sends on? Okay. Some people don't see that bill that the doctor sends on. And guess what? The government still writes that check.
People already have a choice between Medicare and HMOs.
Well, but it's no, they don't. They still it's still within, you know, let's see, Part B and Part A, I believe. Okay.
And I guess kind of go what Jola was saying. What's the difference between Part A and Part B? What you're saying?
Well, the thing is, you have Medicare. You do have Medicare Advantage, but I hate to tell you something. In the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, Medicare Advantage gets cut. $575 billion cut. And furthermore, you're going to have a 15-member panel of bureaucrats that will forever make the decision on price controls in Medicare. That's not what you probably need that. Next.
Next question, Garfield DeJoyce. Yeah, Garfield DeJoyce. I'm sorry, I'm not pretty sure. Last name DeJoy? Oh, Gabriel, there you go. Here, Gabriel, grab the mic so this way you can.
Sir.
My name is Gabriel.
Well, they need to hear in the back, that's the problem.
My name is Gabriel. I'm a small business owner in Personal City for almost 30 years. Right now, the economy is giving, especially gas. And I have to let people go because I can't afford to pay. And if someone works for me, I must pay.
Yeah.
I'm the last one to get paid. What I'm supposed to get paid, I spend in gas. I have to go give you free food. And I have to do advertising. And I'm paying $500 a month. I don't get no call. For the year, I have only 57 calls. From 57 calls, I don't have no business. And I still have to pay the $500 a month coming out of my pocket. And my next question, where you stand about the school prayer?
About school prayer?
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, you want me to talk, let me give you Restarting American Offshore Leasing Now Act, H.R. 1230. Putting the Gulf of Mexico Back to Work Act, H.R. 1229. Reversing President Obama's Offshore Moratorium Act on Drilling, H.R. 1231. Jobs and Energy Permitting Act, H.R. 2021. North American Made Energy Security Act. Bipartisan, passed in the House of Representatives, sitting on Harry Reid's desk. Now, to talk about school prayer. First of all, how many people heard of separation of church and state? Can anyone show me where it's written in the Declaration of Independence?
Yes, I can.
Or our U.S. Constitution? Separation of church and state is a premise that was based upon the letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Convention that said, as we establish these United States of America, we will not have a country where the head of the state is also the head of the church. And we will not have an established religion for this country, but we will have free exercise of religion thereof. What we have to be careful of is that you allow people, because you don't know the fundamental documents of this country, to take that very basic premise and then try to separate the United States of America from its Judeo-Christian faith heritage. That's the fear that I have. Now, my experiences, when I was playing high school football back in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, before that game started, they played the national anthem, and a local minister said a prayer. In our school, you know, we'd have prayer before assemblies. If something happened, we had a moment of silence. If a school, if kids want to do that, we got to the point now where we don't even allow valedictorians to stand up and say anything as far as, referencing to God. Be real careful about people that will take away the faith heritage. I didn't say religion. I said the faith heritage of this country. There's a great book out there by David Barton called Our Godly Heritage. You read that book, and you will see countless amounts of references of the Founding Fathers. And always remember, in the Declaration of Independence, it talks about the unalienable rights of the American citizen, of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And in fact, it does not come from man. It does not come from the government. It comes from the Creator, God. They recognize that. So look, I'm not going to stand up there at the federal government level and mandate that, we must have prayer in schools. But when you look at the United States House of Representatives, the motto of the United States of America is above the Speaker's rostrum. And what is the motto of the United States? In God we trust. As you stand there in the House of Representatives, and you have the pictures of all the great lawmakers throughout the history of the world, there is only one lawmaker that has his full face, and he faces toward the Speaker, and that is Moses. Do not allow people to separate our faith heritage away from the fabric of this nation. And that is my fear. And I got to kind of tell you, when we took God out of schools, a whole lot of other mess started coming in those schools.
Next question. Andrew Copeland, am I saying it right? Copeland? I'm bringing the mic so everybody in the back can hear.
Thank you for coming tonight to our neighborhood.
Thanks for having me.
I just have two questions, immigration related. The first, my mother has worked for U.S. Customs since 1974, and now she works for Immigration Customs Enforcement. And there are 11 million people here in unlawful status, no status, and then there's countless more who have status who shouldn't be here because of criminal convictions. In her job, she works for ICE enforcement and removal operations, is to enforce the law, and yet they don't have enough money to enforce the law to its fullest possibility. They have enough money right now to, they're told they have enough money to deport 400,000 people per year, but they don't really even have enough money for that. She brings like her own supplies to work, and they're just overworked, and I just wondered, first of all, what your impressions of ICE's efforts are, and what Congress can do to get ICE better funding. That's the first question.
You bring up a great point. Illegal immigration is going to hurt this country in ways that we just can't imagine. It's a national security issue. It's an economic issue. It's a healthcare issue. It's an education issue in our schools. And it's a local criminality issue, as you just talked about. We got to make sure that we fund it properly with the Department of Homeland Security. The GAO put out a report. There's $200 to $300 billion of redundant and duplicative programs in Washington, D.C. that need to be eliminated. We got to go line by line and look at where we can reduce that side of scope of government, reduce those redundancies, and get those type of funds over so that we can finally secure our borders and enforce the laws of this country. Illegal immigration is illegal. Now, we have to be very smart and pragmatic with the solutions that we come about, because I don't want to see us decimate our agricultural industry. So we have to look at how we can have some type of guest worker program so that we don't have produce that is sitting over there and rotting out, which means that you'll have high produce costs in the prices in the grocery store. So I think that what we need to do is we need to look at a tiered category of people, prioritize the legal immigrants that we need to start moving out. And that should be the target. And we got to make sure we're funding properly. One of the problems that we have right now is, quote unquote, there are not enough beds for people while we wait to get them processed for deportation. So those, and you know what, we have